Hey, how you doing? Dan, the Heat Pump Business Builder here. We're going to do something a little bit different today, so let's jump straight in. We're going to critique an email a marketing email for heat pumps that was actually sent to a friend of mine. Now, he is a personal trainer who does online coaching. He lives the dream over in Bali. Instagram sensation, you get the idea. He received this email, screenshotted it, sent it to me, laughing, thinking, no, this is clearly not for me. I had a good read through it, and we're going to go through it in a moment. And it was painful to read, in truth. And it's not this chap's fault, the person that actually wrote it. I love him for the fact that he's trying. He's trying to get his marketing up and running, trying to do something to generate some business. And clearly he's just starting out on that. I hope he's just starting out anyway on that mission. So what the purpose of this is to share it with you and go through it so that we can all benefit from that, so we can all learn what not to do, basically. So let's just dive straight into this. I'm going to go on to this next screen, so hopefully you'll be able to see this. But nonetheless, I'm going to read through it anyway, so if you are watching it on your phone and you can't read it, don't worry. So it starts off with, good afternoon, please forward to the correct department. No one's going to forward it to the correct department. They are just going to delete it. It's not the customer's job to do your marketing for you and present your piece of marketing to the relevant people. That's just not going to happen. So that is laziness, in so much as you've got to send it to the right person and personalize the email itself. Know who you're sending it to and put their name on it. It's as simple as that. Now, if you don't know their name, because it's that cold a list that you're sending to, let's not ask them to try and put it in front of somebody who's the actual buyer. Moving on, would an air source heat pump be of interest to you, or a fresh air heat exchanger? So it's the right thing to do to ask the question, but it's the wrong question. Would an air source heat pump be of interest to you? No. Simple as that. Yeah, it's a closed question. It's about selling the benefits of whether it's the heat pump or whether it's the MVHR. You've got to agitate that itch, as it's known. So any other question but that, it could be, are you trying to do your bit for the environment by reducing your carbon emissions, whatever it might be, that then the recipient actually goes, yeah, no, I am actually. That's interesting. Tell me more. Would an air source heat pump be of interest to you? No, it's not. I don't even know what it is because I'm a consumer. I've never heard of an air source heat pump. I don't need to pump any heat. That's the reaction it's going to get. It doesn't mean anything to them. Don't forget, we don't sell heat pumps. We sell what they do and the benefits to the customer. Customers aren't interested in buying heat pumps. They are interested in reducing their carbon emissions, improving their heating system, whatever it is that's important to them. So it's the right thing to do to ask the question. That's the wrong question to ask. Moving on. We are an air conditioning, refrigeration, heat pump and ventilation company with over 30 years experience. So mixed messaging now. You asked me first of all whether I want an air source heat pump. Now you're telling me that you do aircon, refrigeration, heat pumps and ventilation. So it's trying to be all things to all men here, and it's not keeping on the point of what they actually are selling or what they're attempting to sell with this email. It then says there's with over 30 years experience. It doesn't say what in. They could have 30 years experience in anything. I very much doubt they got 30 years experience in heat pumps specifically. And that is what this email is trying to sell, or certainly that's how it started out. So it's a little bit misleading, and it's also irrelevant. No one really cares that you got 30 years experience. They're not going to say, oh, because you got 30 years experience, I'll buy from you because the last person I spoke to only had 25. So it's not important to them. Moving on, with the changing climate and the need to be more energy efficient nowadays, not nowadays. So that's the first of a number of spelling and grammatical errors within this. The problem is that people will judge you. I'm doing it, you're doing it, we all do it. when we see a spelling mistake, a typo, it's got to be right. It's the target market is going to judge and decide that nope, they don't want to deal with you if you can't even write properly. So even if you're not gifted in writing and crafting eloquent letters, give the job to somebody else. Get someone else who can do it. At the very least, get somebody to check it. So, well, I've lost my place now. So, yeah, nowadays, heat pumps are an ideal way to heat and cool your home or business. Great. Or is it? So, they're an ideal way to heat or cool your home or your business. So who are you sending this to? Is it going to homeowners or is it going to business owners? Because they clearly are not one and the same. They will have completely different needs, different ways of paying for it, different reasons for installing it, different products requirements, and so on and so on. So once again, we're trying to cover too many bases with one email. Moving on, with the latest inverter technology, these units are compact and efficient to run. Brilliant. Okay, now again, a consumer has no idea what the latest inverter technology is, what it does, and why it's important. Once again, that is not going to make somebody go, well, on that basis, take my money. And with an email such as this, we've only got a handful of lines that we can see there to get the customer to take action. So every word, every line matters, and that is not going to make them do anything. Moving on, they can also be installed to heat the water in the premises. Therefore, that should be one word, therefore removing the need for a boiler. So it doesn't really, it replaces the boiler. It doesn't remove the need for one. There's still a need to heat the water. So again, being a bit picky there, but it's once again, it's not the right thing. It's not the reason why somebody's going to install one of these things. Also, what's it talking about? Is it talking about air conditioning? Or ventilation, because that clearly doesn't remove the need for a boiler. Moving on, the government also gives an incentive where you could be entitled to recover the cost of their heat pump and installation. So why does it say there? That's there as in, well, it would belong to the government on that basis. So the spelling issues, there's a double space here as well, so it's just not neat and tidy. And like I say, all these things will be judged. But also, it's not exactly true, is it? So the government also gives an incentive. So also, what else do they do? So the government also gives an incentive where you could be entitled to recover the cost. Well, no, there is no incentive to recover the cost of air conditioning for your business. So that's misleading. If it is referring to the boiler upgrade scheme, that's not going to cover the whole cost, as we know. So it's part of the cost, and that's specifically for homeowners and their air source heat pump. So mixed message, it's unclear, and at worst, it's just simply not true. Final part of this section, we are Daikin D1 accredited suppliers and installers. We're also F-gas registered. Homeowner reads that and says, I have no idea what you're talking about, and I don't care. So it's not going to get the desired outcome. This a Daikin D1 accredited supplier. Now, in a certain circle, somebody might go, oh, that's good, well done. But to the people that are reading this email, it doesn't mean anything. Most people have never even heard of Daikin. So it's irrelevant. Likewise, F-gas doesn't mean anything to anyone outside of the industry. So that line does not achieve anything. Moving on to the next section. Heat recovery ventilation units will supply a constant flow of fresh air into the premises. Well, that's spelled wrong. Premises, so it belongs to the premise. So yeah, I know what he's trying to say. So heat recovery ventilation units will supply a constant flow of fresh air into the premises while extracting the dirty air out. So it's not the most eloquent way of writing that line, but also, why are we selling how it works, or why are we explaining how it works rather than what it's going to do for the person? There's no benefit here. At this point, it recovers the heat it is removing in the dirty air and warms up the clean, fresh air it's drawing in. It's the wrong it's there. All that needs is a simple phrase, which means that. So if that line was written a little bit better and then finished off with which means that, you get nice fresh air without losing the heat in the air. Even that's terrible, but it gives a benefit. It explains why this is something that you might want to do. Yeah, it's get fresh air into your house without losing your heat. There you go, that's a little bit more eloquent. And that might actually make somebody go, I want fresh air in my house, but I don't want to open the window and lose all my heat. This sounds interesting. But even then, it's getting far too deep into it at this stage. Carries on, we provide service and breakdown. Fantastic. So what you're telling me is these things break down so often you need to put that in your sales email. That does not sound like something I want to buy. So we provide service and breakdown on all makes of refrigeration and aircon. Great. You were telling me a heat pump earlier or a fresh air heat exchanger. Why are you telling me that you service and break down fridges and aircon units? Because that's how they're going to read that. So it doesn't do the job that the writer here is intending it to do. We're also gas safe and can install or service boilers and commercial gas heaters. So quite an awkward line there, but also awkward from the point of view that you're meant to be selling renewable energy, but if you don't fancy that, we can give you a gas boiler instead. So you've got to stick to your message. You're either one thing or the other. If you're going to sell gas boilers, great. Yeah, have an email or marketing that sells gas boilers. If you sell heat pumps, great. But don't then say you're going to fit them a gas boiler, because you've got to stick to your line. If you have any questions about how we can assist you, please do not hesitate to contact me. No one is going to contact you. It's as simple as that. This email is not going to make anyone contact you, not least because of the content, but mostly because how are they going to contact you? Where's the phone number? Yeah, how are you meant to ring someone or contact them? Yes, they could hit reply to this email, but they're not going to. Yeah, but they're certainly also not going to pick up the phone because there's no number. Finally, we would appreciate the opportunity to work with you in the future. So if there's any procurement paperwork, please send it over. No one's going to send it over. No one's going to go, oh yeah, I've been meaning to send out some procurement paperwork to some random person that emailed me. It's clearly not going to happen. So that's quite a detailed critique, and it may well sound harsh, but there will be no more harsh a person to critique this than the actual consumer themselves, and they will simply delete it, chuck it in the bin, or what have you. So you need to either go through your marketing like this to really critique it, or give it to somebody else, someone that's not afraid to hurt your feelings, because you can't be emotionally attached to these things, because like I say, it's a hard life out there, and the customers will just delete and bin it. So what have we learned from here? There are 6 key learnings from this critique. In fact, there's probably many more, but there's 6 key ones. So first off, know your audience. Who are you sending this email to? Not only who you're sending it to, what's the objective? What do you want to do? What do you want to sell? Keep it simple. Sell one thing at a time. If you do a huge range of stuff, or even just 2 things, sell one at a time. And sell the thing that's relevant to them. Know your audience. Also, that means make sure you only send it to your audience. Yeah, if you're buying data, it's not going to be 100% accurate, but probably best not to try to sell heat pumps to Insta famous personal trainers living in Bali. Number 2, personalize your emails. Asking somebody to send it or pass it on to the buyer, no, it's not going to cut it. Send it to the right person. Put their name on it wherever possible. So make it personal. Personalized emails will get much better response. If your name is at the top of it, you're going to answer it, or more likely to respond to it. Third point is craft a compelling subject line. We all get hundreds of emails. We will judge what it is and whether it deserves to be opened on the subject line itself. Now, you and me may well open an email that's got heat pump, aircon, MVHR as the subject line because of what we do. A consumer's unlikely to. They'll see it as spam. They won't know what it is. MVHR, they won't have a clue what that is. They're not going to open it. So it's got to be something relevant to them. Think about the time of year. This is being recorded in June. The last few days have been super hot. If you sell aircon, you should have a relevant subject line to what's going on right now. If you're hot, open this email. That has a couple of different connotations. Maybe that will work. Yeah, and you need to test these things and measure the open rates, and test and pivot, change it if it's not opening up. So craft a compelling subject line. Number 4, keep it concise and focused. Sell one thing to one person. Yeah, make sure that you're only talking about that one thing. What's in it for them? Why it's important? Why they should have it? Yeah, why they'd be crazy not to? And keep it to the point. Provide some value to them. Address their pain points. They should be reading this email or any other form of marketing, and it should start to solve a problem, or at least give them a glimmer of hope to solve a problem. If they are super hot in their house because it's a heat wave for 3 weeks a year, that is the best time to sell aircon to somebody. We see this all the time. If you go on Amazon or something like that, the sale of fans during a heat wave, off the charts. People don't buy fans in the winter. They're probably half the price and easily available, but in the summer, people will queue up for them, pay twice the price. So it's got to be relevant to them. Address that pain point that's relevant to them. Solve a problem. Make the desire start to increase. And finally, include that clear call to action. Give them a reason to get in touch with. Give them a way to get in touch with you as well. Don't forget that. Put your phone number on it, and get them to do something. Yeah. And in that same respect, I obviously want to work with you to help you with your marketing, help you to build your heat pump business. So if you have got any marketing, which of course you've got some marketing of some description that you're about to send out, that you are currently sending out, whatever it is, send it over to me. I won't do a public critique like this. I'd rather do a one-to-one with you. We can go through it with you. It won't cost you anything. We'll have a chat and we'll see what we think to it, see how it can be improved, and go from there. But yeah, there's my email address on the screen. I'll pop it in the comments as well, so you can click on it. But yeah, send some stuff over. Let's agree a time to have a chat, and we'll critique it, and we'll be able to help you improve your marketing. So I hope that was interesting. And if you're the person that wrote the email, then get in touch. Yeah, I'd love to have a chat with you, because we can 100% help you. But yeah, certainly if you are not the person that wrote it, you're probably quite relieved. But yeah, hopefully that was still useful, bit of an eye-opener, and maybe there's a few things that you're doing yourself that have made you think about that. Okay, so that's it for this session, this video. Look forward to seeing you in the next one. See you soon.